The lyrics of the song you just heard, and when the time is right, 10,000 red Chinese, they're going to use their way to give you their disease, was recorded in 1972. Jack, I don't know how you knew. Hello, viewers and subscribers. My name is Fred Satilli. Come take a walk with me. We had an election last week. The results were exactly as I had stated, except for in one particular case. In the case of Maxine Waters versus Omar Navarro, Mad Max got 75% of the vote as predicted. It did not have to be that way. In the case of Adam Schiff versus, get this, Adam Schiff was up against a drag queen who ran as maybe a girl. G. Pudlow, I don't know what the G stands for, but I kid you not, it was Schiff versus maybe a girl, and G. Pudlow is a drag queen who goes as maybe a girl. I kid you not. This was an actual election. Both were Democrats. There was no party opposition. And wow, interestingly, Schiff only got 72% of the vote. It didn't have to be that way. I still can't believe it. In the case of Ted Lieu and Joe Collins, Lieu got 2/3 of the vote, almost 2/3 exactly, 2 for every one of Collins as predicted. And I actually told this result, that this would be the result, to 3 of Collins' people for a total of 5 hours of my time explaining to them that this is how it would turn out. I kid you not. And it didn't have to be that way. But the real shocker was in Orange County. This is where I was wrong. Incumbent Katie Porter only beat Scott Baugh by 2,970 votes. It was 93,400 to 90,430. This contest was totally winnable. The percentages were 50.8 to 49.2, a difference of 1 point. 1,486 votes, if they were flipped, would have decided this election the other way. I tried twice to work with Amy Phan, who was a candidate for this in the primary but lost in the primary, and couldn't get through. The election result in this case really didn't have to be this way. Now, my friends, I am not a backbencher. Mark Levin calls people who just repeat something that someone else said or something we all know and don't have to hear again, he calls them backbenchers. We want original thought here. With me, my videos refer to something original in every case. There's no point in telling you things you already know. People come on and they say, hey, the government flu, that was a pandemic. You know, you telling me this 2 years and you're going to tell me this again? I hear this on the news frequently. People, you know, oh, they're letting those illegal aliens in on purpose. They're, you know, holy smokes. I have nothing but contempt for these backbenchers. I hold them in contempt. They're a big waste of time. Now, in California, 98% of incumbents win re-election. Incumbents are a wall that must be taken down before anyone, including you, can win. This is something that nobody seems to understand. If you don't remove an incumbent, no one can win. It doesn't matter how many people are in the primary, they're all going to lose if the incumbent isn't taken down in the ballot box. I hope you understand this simple truth. If you do not, you, I won't say you can't ever win, but you can't ever win. So anyway, look, if Larry Elder couldn't do it, I doubt you will. So in order to remove an incumbent at the ballot box, training is necessary. You cannot do what you've always done. That is a path to crushing failure. We proved that many, many times last week in states and counties all over the country. We proved it. Proved it. We had an election. There was no wave, one way or the other. Even Kari Lake is struggling, and we put a lot of eggs in her basket. And what? We were supposed to have a giant victory party. We were supposed to show the whole country, well, maybe they'll let her have it. If they do, if they don't let her have it, we'll know it was important. If they do let her have it, then we'll know that they don't care that she's there. And that's a weird, sick corollary that I'm sorry I had to say, but it will be true, and it is true now. You must do something different. But what? It won't help for me to simply tell you. It's like telling a person how to play the piano and then expecting them to play your favorite song. You need training. You need training because you're going to have to do something that you've never done before. You're going to have to do something that is counterintuitive. There are no yard signs in this plan. I can't begin to tell you about candidates' passionate love of yard signs. You have to come to terms with the fact that they don't work. And again, you have to understand that you can't do this alone. I know that you are adorable and you have a wonderful bio, but that doesn't matter. If you think it matters, you need training because your thinking is losing thinking. You don't hand someone a firearm and tell them to defend themselves. More than likely, they will shoot themselves. They need training. Again, you have to understand that you can't do this alone. California is a diverse place. You will need men and women. You will need a white, a black, and Hispanic, and Asian. And if you live in an ethnic enclave, you will need a unique majority figure. An example would be, if you live in Burbank, you need an Armenian. If you live in Carson, you need a Samoan. You get the idea? And that group will need a manager. The manager manages all those people. You see, this is counterintuitive. This is something different. If you can't find such a group, you are not ready to win. There's no point in spending time and money on a campaign that's destined to lose. You have to do something that will win. You have to have a plan, and no one has a plan. You see these people over and over and over do the same thing. I've watched people lose dramatically through 6 election cycles in some case. So, there is a plan, but the campaign is complicated. You will need training and constant course correction. People, they hear this and right away they want to do something other than the plan. You can't do that. You have to stay on course. And my training is a vast exercise in course correction. So the other thing that you have to understand immediately is that the campaign starts immediately, not 3 months before the election. This campaign takes years and years and years. The party that's in power in California, in unquestionable power, developed that power over decades and decades. So when you begin to do the plan, yeah, you want to win the next election. You don't want that to be decades or whatever. I'll be dead of old age. But you need to start the campaign immediately. And this campaign is there's the short game and there's the long game. And you got to fall in love with the long game because it's how you take back. You know how they always say take back the state or take back the country. I would be thrilled to see someone take back an assembly district. And you start that way, and next thing you know, it's state senate districts and overlapping districts, and there's a long game, and this is entirely thought through. The plan is entirely thought through. It doesn't need to be discussed. It's not open to interpretation. I don't care to hear anybody's ideas. I mean, I do have an open mind and I listen to everybody, but believe me, no one knows about this. This has never been tried. So you have to listen and learn, and you have to train and train until you internalize this. There's going to be answers to questions, and if you can't answer those questions, you need more training. What we really need is involvement just to assemble the campaign group. The group, listen, the group must love each other. Any selfishness or immaturity will destroy the group. You know, you've seen controlled opposition enough times to know what that is, right? So this has to be a real, you know, a real understanding, a real commitment to each other. If you're hypersensitive and or demand political correctness, you can't do this. Politics is war. You have to be very thick-skinned. This is not a game for the faint of heart, and this is not a game for the faint of will. We're talking about a commitment to a group that will last for years. You have to ask yourself if you want to make such a commitment, or if you just want to carp about how life is unfair to you. There's a lot of whining out there. It doesn't help to throw $100 at something or to knock on doors for 2 hours in a neighborhood a couple of weeks before the election. Now, you're not going to win that, even though, boy, that one in Orange County wouldn't have taken much more effort to pull that over the finish line, right? But the point is here, and this is where I really come into my own with this, and that is self-governance requires self. That's yourself. So do you want to do it or don't you? I thank you all for your indulging me once again. Thousands of hours and dollars are spent losing elections. I want to try something that is not a guaranteed failure. And I really hope that we get to implement this. I want everybody to share this video. This video has, I never do. I'm not one of those guys, hit the bell, hit the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm not Sean Hannity, right? This is not some kind of commercial backbencher bullshit. I really want to see if this is possible. I know the plan is completely thought through, but it's going to take a highly committed and highly trained group. And I know an awful lot of people who think they want to do something, but, well, I guess I'll find out if they do. Anyway, thanks again. I'm Fred Satilli. Thanks again for indulging me this one time. But please, get this message out to people. Get it out to people. We have to find that group. So, I've said thank you, I guess, 2 or 3 times now, but I really mean it. Thanks again very much. And that's it for now.